But it just keeps on going and going and going. I'll play this video about, especially his policy with regard to the economy as it relates to Israel. I mean, everything is just kind of blowing up. This was his reaction to a question about the whole visa situation. He made a huge crisis out of visas being given, relating to both immigration and the economy. And now that he's asked about it, he essentially insults the entire United States here. Here we go.
Raise wages for American.
Again, sorry, hold on one second. I gotta remove that, and then here we go.
You can't flood the country with tens of.
Here we go.
Want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent.
We have plenty of talented people here.
No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, "I'm going to put you into a factory. We're going to make missiles."
So this was astounding. Missiles. Not because of the whole immigration debate even, but just how he blatantly insults the entirety of essentially the U.S. population, or at least working population or potential working population, mentions unemployment lines, which is a very sensitive subject because that's going on. And then, talks about how the example would be to take them off of the street and for them to make missiles. I mean, this whole narrative is just an encapsulation of, I think, where we are, plus talking about, after all of these promises of no more U.S. troops into West Asia, into the Middle East, now in the most unpopular, the biggest blemish, the biggest eyesore for the U.S.'s reputation was the genocide in Gaza, now essentially being an occupant or looking to occupy. 10,000 square feet is not a small space. Your reaction to all of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's to what it's going to become. And floating out this idea, you see this a lot, of course, with this president. They drift stuff out on Monday, see what the reaction is by Wednesday, and then they'll recalibrate for the following Monday, just to see. And it's also interesting to see if there's any media pushback from this, or any MAGA pushback from it. And I think that this president is just so adept, and this administration, at managing the news cycle by what Steve Bannon called famously flooding the zone. We're going to flood the zone. They really good at flooding the zone. But I think it is a real insult to say that Americans don't have the talent. What he's talking about as a businessman, as a financier, is cheap labor. That's what he means. It's not that America doesn't have the talent, but it doesn't have the talent that'll work for 30% less. And this is when, if you remember, when the whole H-1B visa debate was going crazy, a year ago, or I can't remember if that was the beginning of the Trump term or just before inauguration, might have been during the transition. But Elon Musk had a public meltdown on X over this issue because hardcore MAGA didn't want to give any ground on H-1B. And remember, it was about Vivek Ramaswamy was also in this debate, him being of Indian origin, and the whole tech bro sector and the heads of these tech companies and so forth, all from India. Google, etc. And so Elon Musk had a public meltdown. He went crazy because the H-1B visa and high-skilled Indian labor that will work for less is a core tenet of Elon Musk's success of some of his businesses, as the rest of Silicon Valley as well. So they love this. They love the fact that they can get the high-skilled workers, highly motivated, that'll work for 30% less. It's a business thing. And instead of being honest about this and just being kind of forthright that that's really what their interest is, they have to dance around the issue in such a disingenuous way, and then insult the American workforce. I mean, for Trump to do that, it just shows you what a fraud MAGA is. And it's just a slogan. It's just a hat. I mean, it was entertaining, and a lot of people, I think, on the conservative side went along with it because we have a democracy where we get to vote. So if somebody is campaigning with a platform that's markedly different, like is a change agent to the previous status quo, you're gonna punt. You're gonna give it a go. If it works, great. If it's a little bit better than before, great. If he stopped all the wars, fantastic. But if you're not getting any of these things, and it's not making America great, and it's not even patriotic, and literally Donald Trump holds the American workforce in contempt, then it's at that point, if you have any self-respect on the right, that includes all you grifters and the types of people that festoon around One America News, Fox News, Newsmax, okay? Yeah. And you think that somehow this president is somehow representing the working class? Are you freaking serious? At this point, you might as well smoke that joint live on air, like on the Rogan show or whatever, because you're high at that point. I mean, seriously, guys, the grift is unbelievable at this point. I mean, you're seeing the real Donald Trump is what you're seeing. The mask is off, feels confident, he's got the power. His inner circle are going around bullying and intimidating people, threatening people, abusing the executive power. Marco Rubio's running around like a literally a hatchet man for Israel. Chasing students around campuses to deport them because they're criticizing a foreign country. I mean, that's the state of the Trump administration. It's a joke. It's a clown.